This is Nitro Game Injection.
everybody. Welcome to Nitro Game Injection. I'm your host, Kyle JCRB. And I'm having a little bit of a rough start here. A little late if you're listening to the live show. Sorry about that. Some settings got changed this week on me. Or should I say, I changed some settings this week. And kind of screwed myself over. Didn't realize it until, of course, about to start the show. Also, Winamp is being finicky. For those who don't know, Winamp is my main way of doing this show. Now, you may be wondering why I'm using Winamp to do this show. Because it works. Normally. And I love Winamp. And Winamp is still a good audio player. And just my process of doing things this way. Winamp has all the plugins needed for all the background music stuff. And all that. So that's why I'm using Winamp. Now the problem with Winamp is, apparently, it likes to crash. Today. It doesn't normally crash. It's normally pretty stable. But for some reason today it's freezing up. After like a minute into the last song, which was ToxicxEternity, starting us off there with Aquatic Shrediance from OverClocked Remix. About a minute into that track, a minute and a half, for some reason, Winamp froze. The audio kept playing. Apparently it kept streaming, but it just wouldn't let me do anything. And it wouldn't move on to the next song when the song was done, so that's why you had that big gap of silence in there if you're listening to this live. If you're not listening to this live, I fixed that. You're welcome. The things I do for you. So, anyway, how you doing, guys? Welcome to Nitro Game Injection. I'm Kyle JCRB. I think I've already said all that, but that's okay. This is a special episode. This one is the Patreon's Choice special for this month. I did a poll over at kngi.org, or actually at patreon.com/kngi. It's a poll specifically reserved for $3 and up patrons, and I asked them to decide which of the Source Tune Spectrum specials to do this month. And in the final poll, there was a tie between Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country and Corridors of Time from Chrono Trigger. So I'm the tie-breaking vote on this one. So if you like Corridors of Time from Chrono Trigger, sorry, maybe we'll do it some other month, but anyway. I think they're both a little overrated. I think there are better songs in both games. But if I'm going to choose which one I have more affection for and more affinity for, I'm going to go with the one with the game that I actually played. Because I actually played this game. I have played a little bit of Chrono Trigger. And I like Chrono Trigger. It's a really good looking game. But I'm like, Donkey Kong Country is my jam. So anyway, speaking of jams, let's go ahead and transition into some music, shall we? I hope this works. I'm really hoping this holds. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Can anybody hear me? I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. Things are going on. Things are exploding. I don't know. Anyway. We're going to kind of keep it down tuned at first. I've got these kind of set up. I've got these songs kind of stylistically ordered. But every song on this list this week is a remix of Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country, which you're hearing play behind me right now. So you're probably familiar with this track. It's very popular in the remix community. And it's just a very popular video game music song in general. Like, if people talk about video game music, inevitably this one comes up pretty early on in the conversation. So it's like Ice Cap Zone or Corridors of Time. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna go with something from a guy who I normally would associate with doing a metal style arrangement, but this is not metal at all. This one is from Kadmium. This is another OverClocked remix. This one is called A Different Kind of Peace. Keep it here. This is Nitro Game Injection. Well, that was a little weird because pretty sure there's some Careless Whisper in there. It sounds like it. I love Careless Whisper. It's a very cheesy George Michael song from the mid-'80s. It's almost hilarious. Actually, the lyrics are hilarious, but the music is actually pretty good. Yeah, it's got that sax in there. I like sax. Saxophone is fun. Anyway, about that one. That's really good. Damn good solo piano performance. And really transitioned well from the song directly before it. I didn't catch the change originally. I'm like, huh, this song's really low. Oh, wow. So it transitioned well. I guess I'll give myself a pat on the back for that one. I don't know, it just kind of happened. Anyway, that was Waveformer with Depth of the Deep from Donkey Kong Country, of course, as all these songs are. That's an OverClocked remix, ocremix.org. I will be saying OCR a lot because that's where most of these songs came from. Aquatic Ambience is very popular on OCR. So, before that, we had Rebecca Tripp and Laura Platt with a track simply titled Aquatic Ambience or Aquatic Ambiance. I don't know, I just say ambience. I'm too white to say it with any sort of flourish. I want to say that one's on Bandcamp or YouTube. Rebecca Tripp, she's done quite a lot of cool stuff. So, she's been doing arrangements. She does these enormous medley arrangements that are really cool. So if you haven't checked her out, be sure to do so. And let's see. And before that, we started out with Kadmium with a different kind of piece. A different kind of remix from Kadmium, a bit more cinematic in scope rather than Kadmium's usual kind of metal that he normally goes for. Really good stuff, though. Worked out really well for him. So. Alright, time to switch gears a bit and get into a different style. We're gonna rock the place up. We got some rock collaborations coming up, either in the form of rock bands or just two people who rock. That's all this next block coming up is all about. And starting us off on this block is gonna be the one, the only Monkey Kong. And not Donkey Kong, it's Monkey Kong. Which arguably makes more sense, but regardless, anyway. This is another one from OverClocked Remix. This is a really damn good one. This one's from 2009, and it's called Dolphin Ride. Even though it's a swordfish, not a dolphin, but we'll ignore that. Keep it here. This is Nitro Game Injection. That right there was Gibs and Mordi with a track not from a Commodore 64 game, surprisingly enough. That was A Hint of Blue from Donkey Kong Country, of course. Another Overclocked remix. And that one's pretty nice. It's 2012, so I think it's a little bit before the synthwave thing really hit, but it's got elements of synthwave in it for some reason. It kind of reminds me of. It's also got a bitchin' guitar from, I think it's Mordi. If I remember correct. Might be Gibs. It's one of those. Actually, I think Gibs is the guitarist. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Gibs. Okay. I always forget which one's the guitarist. Yeah, it's Gibs. So, but those guys normally, I see their names all over, like Kwed, Kwed, and so they're remixing Commodore stuff all the time, but not much outside of that. So always good to see them branch out. Good to see remixers branch out a bit, cover some stuff they maybe otherwise wouldn't have, even though this is like one of the most popular video game songs in existence. But hey, it's all good. Before that, we had Lame Genie with a track simply titled Aquatic Ambiance. That's from their album Retropander that you can pick up at lamegenie.bandcamp.com. As per usual, though, that album is Pay What You Want, and is their most recent one. They're pretty active. They tend to come out with things fairly regularly. I get notifications like, hey, Lame Genie has a new release. I'm like, all right, sweet, let's go see what it is. So that's kind of how these things go, but Lame Genie shows up in my inbox quite a bit, which is not a bad thing because they're pretty good. Pretty damn good, even though their name is Lame Genie, but they're not lame. They're pretty damn good. And speaking of bands that are pretty damn good, before that we had Monkey Kong with Dolphin Ride. All right, we're gonna get into some electronic stuff a bit. Let's dance in the club, shall we? Is that what the kids do these days? I don't know. I'm not a club person. But hey, this is the electronic block of the show. Electronic music that you dance to, potentially. I don't really know. I am like horrible at this. Anyway, I'll let Cyborg Jeff, Blind, and Alicia do the talking here because they have a much better handle on the language of electronic dance music than I do. This one's from Cyborg Jeff. It's an old one from VG Mix. You can find this one at vgmixarchive.com, since unfortunately VG Mix is kind of dead. And will it come back? Probably not. I think its relevance has kind of diminished, sadly, to the point where it's not really necessary anymore. Back in 2004, 2003, 2002, sure, absolutely. But nowadays, I think it's been largely superseded by things like SoundCloud, YouTube, things like that. But that's okay. There's still some good stuff on VG Mix that you can find in the VG Mix archive. And, of course, it's a important part of the video game music remix community. and sort of how it grew, but sadly, I think it's a bit beyond its time. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into some Cyborg Jeff. This one's called Donkey Kong Sunset. Keep it here. This is Nitro Game Injection. That right there was Alicia with Beyond the Waves from Donkey Kong Country. Another one from VGMix. VGMixarchive.com is where you can find almost every VGMix song that a whole bunch of people could find. There's a lot missing, let's just say. A lot. But I think most of the notable remixes are there. And of course, a lot of stuff was cross-posted between VGMix, OCR, Dwelling of Duels, stuff like that. So I think most of the stuff is out there floating around, and the stuff that isn't might not have been worth saving. But there's probably some stuff that's just like we don't have anymore, that's just gone forever, and that really sucks. So, but honestly, even if it's bad, I would prefer to archive it just to have it. I think it's more important to have the archive and keep it around, even if maybe it's not the greatest quality. I don't know. Maybe what's quality to me, or what's not quality to me, might be to somebody else. Might be what somebody else likes. So we can't decide that. Kind of make an arbitrary decision. So before that, we had Blind with Blue Vision from Donkey Kong Country, of course. That's a classic one from 2002. Still holds up pretty well, though. Still sounds fairly modern. Probably because it doesn't have any live instruments or anything. That helps. And before that, we had Cyborg Jeff with Donkey Kong Sunset. We're gonna rock a little bit here again, just a tad. This is not a super brutal rock set or metal set, but I do have two more rockish kind of live band performance blocks coming up. So band style performances, I suppose, not like actual bands for some of them, but. Anyway, this is the first and only Dwelling of Duels arrangement on the show this week. DwellingofDuels.net, a monthly remix competition where the main instrument must be played live. And this one comes from Scared Sim. This one is from the Donkey Kong month back in July of 2007, so very nearly 10 years ago. This was the winning track, the first place track. It's called Swimming Monkey. Don't go away. This is NGI. told you that wasn't going to be a super hardcore rock block. It's a very kind of a low-key rock block, I suppose. Soft rock. It's light rock. 94.5. K-Line. Oh wait, no, no, you're not listening to a radio station here. To a local Phoenix radio station where I am. It's like kind of a soft rock radio station, which the idea of soft rock just kind of amuses me. And when you listen to it, it's like, I don't know if this is actually rock. I don't think it is. Like, soft rock is weird to me. It doesn't seem right. Anyway. That was Van Gogh with Coral Capers from their album Game On. And yes, that is the pretty well-known rock band Van Gogh, as in Van Gogh, not like the painter, but the band Van Gogh, doing some video game music arrangements. This album is pretty old, I think. It's been around for quite a while. Yeah, 2010. But it's some good stuff. It's not bad at all. They did a really nice job with it and covered some games that don't otherwise normally get a whole lot of love, like Wave Race 64. It's pretty nice. Before that, we had Vig, formerly known as Vigilante, from OverClocked Remix. That was Beneath the Surface, a classic from OCR's second remix album, Kong in Concert, which covered Donkey Kong Country. Part of the album you can find at dkcproject.ocremix.org. Still a good one to listen to. Some of the songs have not aged super well, but I think overall it's still definitely worth listening to. There's still some really good stuff on it, so check it out. And before that, we had Scared Sim with a track that's nearly 10 years old, which almost to the month, with Scared Sim with Swimming Monkey from the Dwelling of Duel's Donkey Kong month back in July of 2007. The winner. You are the winner, Scared Sim. Scared Sim wins quite a bit. Although, according to the DoD website, he's actually gotten silver more often than gold. So. But he's always, well, not always, but frequently near the top because, well, he's good. We're going to get a little bit more kind of electronic-ish going into this next block. This next one is going to have some pretty ripping guitar, some guitar shredding, but it's mostly electronic with a bit of guitar mixed in. And then the following tracks are all going to be electronic, so this one is another OverClocked remix. This time, though, it's not from Donkey Kong Country. This one's from Donkey Kong Country 3. A track called Aquatic Transformations by Hal C. and Level 99. There's a track in Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie's Double Trouble, for the Game Boy Advance, not the Super Nintendo version, but the Game Boy Advance port that happened later. That has a completely different soundtrack in it, and there's a song called Waterworld. And that track is an arrangement of Aquatic Ambience. So there you go. This is a remix of an original. So it's still, I figured it was still related enough that I'm gonna throw it in here. You know, something a little, it's a little teensy bit different. But all the elements are there. You'll recognize them. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Aquatic Transformations from Hal C. and Level 99. Keep it here. This is NGI. was Tweaks with Aquatic Odyssey. You can find on his YouTube channel, which I believe is Tweaks Music. Could be mistaken about that one, but regardless, yep, Tweaks Music. If you just search for that, you should be able to find it. And that particular one, I know Tweaks used to spend a lot of time on OCR, so I'm a little surprised that that one hasn't been posted on OC Remix yet, but maybe someday it will be. Or maybe not, I don't know. Either way, I found it on his YouTube channel a while ago and I liked it, so there you go. Before that, we had Nestrogen with a track simply titled Aquatic Ambiance from Chip Country, a tribute to Donkey Kong Country, a free chiptune album put out by the Donkey Kong Country fan site DK Vine. I believe it is a free download, and it's at dkvine.com. So if you head on over to, I want to say where it is. It's like features. Let's see. I'm looking at the website right now, and it's like, huh. I don't know. Chip Country. Where is it? Either way, you can head on over there. It's a pretty cool site, actually. Lots of neat information and all that good stuff. And of course, a download for Chip Country. Somewhere. I can't find it, but I know it's in here somewhere. I will link, I'll have a more direct link to it in the playlist show notes when those go live at patreon.com/KNGI and kngi.org a little bit later this week. Or if you want early access, patreon.com/KNGI, where you can get an uninterrupted version of this episode without all the glitches and problems that have been plaguing it for most of the episode. Sorry about that. I guess my network is acting janky. I don't know why. I don't think it's the internet. I think it's my local network. So I might need to reboot some routers when I'm done. It seems like it is my local network, just based on the symptoms of what's going on. So there was a bit of a pause in there, and then Facebook now has a live second video, and I think only one person is listening to that. Hello, one person. Yeah. I guess getting back onto Facebook Live once you've been kicked off of it requires a completely separate video, which that's dumb. I don't know why they do that. And I guess YouTube is off too. Shoot. Yeah, YouTube. YouTube did a separate video too. Oh well. That's fine. I'll figure it out when I'm done. But thanks everybody for keeping tuned in despite the audio issues. And hopefully it won't be a problem next week. Normally it's not. Normally it's usually pretty solid, but something's going on this week. So anyway, let's keep on rolling here. We're gonna rock a bit again, a little bit. We got one from Overclocked University coming up. This was one of their debut tracks, I believe, back in 2012. And this is a post-rock arrangement of Aquatic Ambiance. And it's from Overclocked University, which is a band made up of various OCR members. This particular track features Level 99, OA, or Ocean's Andrew, Diodes on violin, and Dragon Adventure on bass. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Keep it here. This is Nitro Game Injection. That right there was Retro Remix Review from their album Retro Remix Review Volume 2. That was Aquatic Ambience. That's just what it's called. That's what most of these songs are called. Or Ambiance. Whether it's an A or an E. I think with an E is technically wrong, but it looks more right to me for some reason. Maybe it's because I normally say it ambience instead of ambiance. But whatever. I'm not going to worry about spelling this day. I don't care. I don't have time. I don't have time to correct your spelling, music peoples. I just don't have time. Anyway, Retro Remix Review. They were around for a hot minute. They released 2 albums. They did some pretty good stuff. A little bit of controversy on the OCR forums because, yeah. Well, they don't do enough. They don't arrange enough. They don't do enough variants. It's like, guys, they're not on OCR anyway. Who cares? I think they do a really good job of capturing the feel of the original songs, but also throwing in their own stuff here and there, and also just really, there's really just solid performances all around. I mean, the songs are close to the originals in sound and in theme, but I think there's enough there. I think there's enough meat on them bones for Retro Remix Review, but unfortunately, they have been gone for quite some time. I think they had their albums on Bandcamp for a little bit, and like they're not there anymore. Their website's gone. Yeah, there's just been completely dead silent from them after Volume 2, which is very sad because I was really looking forward to hearing more from them. But before that, we have someone who's actually still quite prolific and still releasing quite a bit of stuff. That was 130 Grit with Aquatic Ambience. I was featured on his album Let's Play the Cover Collection Volume 4. They can pick up at 130grit.bandcamp.com for pay what you want. He's done a ton of video game music arrangement albums there that you can pick up. And that was a bit of a bossa nova style. He does a variety of styles, and he does pretty damn good stuff in all of them. He's just I like his surf rock stuff especially, which if you've been a listener of this show or of Game Fuel, you've heard before. And starting us off there was Overclocked University with Where's the Ocean, Andrew? All right. Well, we have officially reached the end of the show. We are done. Except not really, because I've still got 13 minutes of music left. But I'm going to close out with that. So this is the last you'll hear of me on this episode, which I'm sure will make a few of you breathe a sigh of relief. But let's see. Next week, I will be back. I promise I won't take a break. A somewhat late announcement break like I did last week. But I will be back next week. I don't know what I'm doing next week. What is next week? What are some recent anniversaries games have had? I've been trying to time that lately. I guess this weekend, yesterday in fact, the 23rd, June 23rd was the 26th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. So congratulations, Sonic. You've made it 26 years and you're still 15. But it's kind of interesting because last year, June was Sonic Month on Game Fuel. So if you're looking for a bunch of Sonic remixes, a good way to celebrate the Blue Blur's 26th year, head on over to kngi.org, where you can grab archived episodes of NGI and many, many other shows, including Game Fuel's Sonic Month, where I did 5 shows dedicated to Sonic remixes. Yeah, I did that. That's why I didn't do it again this year. It's like, man, I did that. Yeah. So I could do it again, but I'm not going to. Ugh, damn it. I'm real tired. Oh, wait, that was Mario, not Sonic. Anyway. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Honestly, this is probably like, to me, been one of the easiest quote-unquote endurance specials that I've done. As in, like, just because this song is kind of chill, relaxing. There's something about it, I guess. It's not it's not like Wily Stage 2 where it becomes kind of oppressive a little bit after a while. It's like, man, this is a lot of Wily Stage 2. This is just pretty chill, you know? So, to close us out, we started off with a badass hard rock arrangement from ToxicxEternity. So we're gonna almost close out, with The Distortionist. This is another OverClocked remix, and another super hard heavy metal track called Submerged in Ambiance. It's a great song. I love this version. And then closing us out will be a very, very, very low-key arrangement from Gentle Love from the album Prescription for Sleep, Game Music Lullabies, performed by Norihiko Hibino and Ayaki. This one is just called Aquatic Ambiance. It's a very long track. It's a very nice track, though. It may put you to sleep, but it's the end of the show, so you don't have to worry. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This has been Nitro Game Injection number 271, the Source Tune Spectrum Endurance Special featuring Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Special thanks to all the patrons who voted, or the ones who didn't. That's okay, too. Patreon.com/KNGI if you're interested in supporting Nitro Game Injection and the KNGI network, and me in general, because I'm really like doing this show, so it'd be nice to keep doing it, you know what I mean? Thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been NGI 271. It's a June 24th, 2017. Man, I have completely lost myself. That's why I'm leaving. Bye!